Happy Tuesday, all, and welcome back to our favorite time of the week. Well, I say our, but my favorite time of the week. My name for all of you, as you can see on the screen, is Christina Vega. I'm the founder of Love Shouldn't Hurt, and I'm so excited to have this week's edition of A Male's Perspective. We've done this show several times with different males and received different opinions and viewpoints from males, but today is super exciting for me because the young man that is joining us today is very near and dear to my heart. He was a great influence over my daughter for the past 2 years. He is her dance teacher. He is a phenomenal young man who recently graduated from college and is doing his thing and starting off life and just in your 20s and having fun. I remember being there. I wish I was still there. But he has always intriguing and interesting conversations. So tonight, I'm super excited to have that discussion. Before we do that, I want to do as we always do is one, welcome you all for being here and remind us of where we were the last time we were here. When we were last on the screen, I shared it with Evelyn Ramos and we spoke about expressing yourself, and we kind of looked back on some old episodes and kind of received her viewpoint of what she felt on different things like generational trauma, abusive friendships, and just different things that we've spoken of that she felt so strongly about. So we had a great evening hearing her perspective and listening to her. We've had a great month. We are still celebrating the month of Pride. So I am wearing my rainbow proudly in support of the LGBTQIA+ community. I hope that you are having a phenomenal month. We're going to close out the show next week by closing out with Pride as well. So it's going to be an exciting time. Folks, as always, reminder, if you are watching the show while we are here, if you know of anyone who is dealing with any form of domestic violence, whether it's sexual, whether it's emotional, financial, physical, whatever the case, if it's you, yourself, your friend, family member, or even a foe, remember to reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. You can reach us on any of our social media platforms, and you can reach out to us on our website, loveshouldnothurt.com. I am super excited. This gentleman is amazing. I am so excited. So I don't want to keep him in the back anymore. So let's bring out Bryan Perez-Mendez for tonight's episode. Hi, mi amor.
Hello. How's it
How
going?
are you, sir?
I am well. A little tired, but it's all right. It's not your fault.
You're young. Why are you so tired? I'm supposed to be tired. I'm old.
Hey, I'm trying to be like you, working hard.
You don't want to be like me. Ya estoy vieja, and the wheels are about to fall off.
Yeah.
So listen, I'm excited to have you on tonight because not only have you been such an influence on my daughter's life and she loves you so much, but I have had the distinct pleasure of being a part of your life for quite some time now.
Yeah.
Because I have watched you develop into this amazing young man and now this adult who is doing big things. But at one point in time, when I was a little bit younger, I was the counselor at your high school. And
Yes.
you would sit in my office. And then you went off to college and you came back and you interviewed me, and I felt like a superstar. And now here we are again. You're in front of me and I get to ask you all the questions.
Let's go. The tables have finally turned.
Absolutely. So we always talk about what a woman feels like because along the lines, people have believed that domestic violence is a female thing, right? So
Mhm.
tonight we're giving the male's perspective. If you are listening, there you go. So people who join us know we are speaking about the male perspective tonight. Women's perspective has been given and continues to do so throughout the years, throughout the days. And every time we're on here, for the most part, our audience is filled with women who are super supportive and always give their opinions. But tonight, we're going to hear from a gentleman because domestic violence is not only something that women deal with, but men deal with it as well, and young women have a feeling and sentiments about it, and we don't want to always it just be a woman who is speaking. So tonight, Bryan, we're going to ask you about how you feel. Before we do that, I just want to say hello to our audience members that I see in the chat. I see you, Paulie. I see you, Margie and Islia. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let's get into it. Before I even ask you any questions, your honest answer. What do you feel about domestic violence?
In all honesty, overall, it makes no sense to me. I don't see because I'm a really big people person. My profession is social work, and so people are my world, and so it's and it's a field that's catered with love, and so if you don't really know how to engage well with that, that's not really the most helpful thing. But with domestic violence, it really pains me to know that there's people out there who think that they're in a relationship with someone who loves them, and then it turns out that they're experiencing these the most horrible forms of abuse, whether it's physical, mental. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that a person is getting hurt when they shouldn't be,
Right.
and I despise it. In all honesty.
Yeah. Well, I get that intent from a lot of people. A lot of people tell me, I hate domestic violence. I hate what it is. But in reality, those are just expressions that most times seem like the right thing to say, right? Especially to me, of course, to me. So
Yeah.
when I speak to people about it, they're just like, oh my God, it's terrible. Oh my God, I would never want to see somebody go through it. And then they're no longer around me. And we watch movies and we see people beating on women or men, or we watch, you know, sitcoms, or we watch comedy routines. And like, Kevin Hart has talked about domestic violence. He said in one of them, I'm with domestic violence. I'm okay with you beating your partner. We live in a society, right, where it's okay. People think it's all right because it's become the norm, right?
Mhm.
And it's interesting to hear a man's perspective because, you know, as funny as it seems, just a couple days ago, my daughter and I were having a conversation, and she said to me that she dislikes someone. And I just did a Facebook status about this the other day, but she said someone that I actually hold very, very highly and I think is an amazing person and have much respect for, had a separate conversation with my daughter. And when my daughter and him spoke about my organization, his response to her was that when the conversation was being held about my organization, he had to walk away because to him, it just feels like I'm holding on to the past and that I can't let it go. And that conversations like domestic violence should be let go. Like if you're talking about it, you're still stuck on it. And that he hopes that one day I'll let it go. What's your take on that as a man?
I mean, it's easy to talk about something when you don't have experience in it, and
Right.
so I highly doubt, for someone to talk about something so crucial like this in that form, I can tell that, this individual has absolutely no experience with this at all. Um, this is a really important topic. The fact that we live in a society that's normalizing that and making it okay to joke around, like it's not okay because um, you have people that are sensitive. This is a sensitive topic. You know what I mean? This is something that there's individuals who had the most terrible experiences of their lives because of domestic violence. And I can't imagine someone seeing someone else talk about something that happened to them and then they're making light of it, you know, um, in the same way as if a topic like civil rights or the list can continue on and on. And if someone were to make light of that, then our entire society would be like a Twitter war about
Absolutely.
whatever it is. And
Right.
so I feel like things like occasions like that take place is a lot of it has to do with just lack of awareness, lack of people really trying to do what you're doing, which is called advocate.
Right.
Those who are not educated, please educate yourselves. Advocate. Um, Advocates are like superheroes for those who do not have a voice, and that's exactly what Christina's doing. That's all she wants to do. Um, she didn't have no one during that time, and so what she's doing is tapping into it and doing what she wished she had, and proven pretty effective. So that's my take for it.
All right. Well, listen, so I told you in the email that I sent you that this is an open discussion. I try my best
Yeah.
not to have any sort of script or say this is what I think should happen or say because I think that when it comes to these forms or these topics, people should always keep an open mind. And people should be able to express themselves in any way, shape, or form that they feel. So remind yourself of that throughout this time. If there's anything specifically that you want to say or touch on, do so. Even if it's colorful, because that is what our stage is for. That is what our platform is for. Because we want people to be as real, as open, and as honest as they can be when it comes to this topic. So, Bryan, have you ever personally dealt with someone who's dealt with any form of domestic violence?
I can say that I know a couple people. I have a friend or two, my own mother, and but from the back of my head, I can't even like remember exactly. I do know a couple people, but I do know my mother, and knowing some stories that she has shared as well. And again, you don't have to necessarily go through it yourself anyway. All you need is someone that you really do care about to know, like, someone hurt you. It's simple as that. Like, it's never okay for anyone to be hurt. We live in a fallen world, yes, but we need to do our best as a society and as a people to be one. Be one. If you know someone that's experiencing this, speak up about it. But yeah, I mean, all it takes is even just knowing someone that you care about is going through that.
Absolutely. So, what would you do? Let's say, because I know that you're now working in the mental health field, right? And you're a social worker, and I'm sure you come into contact with a lot of different scenarios, whether it's children, whether it's adults, whatever the case may be. I know that you're now working in that field. So, if you came across a client that came to you and they didn't want to outright tell you what they were experiencing, but you could kind of tell by the red flags, what would you think would be your process? What would you say to them? How would you support them?
When it comes to me working with my people, I can't say anyone I would ever work with because I always do my best to make the room as comfortable as possible
Yeah.
because of scenarios like that. It's always important to make sure the individual is comfortable, and if I'm faced with a situation like that, I would be me with the duty that I have as someone who is dedicating his life to helping others is literally like, I would be upfront. You can tell me, you can be very honest. If you need help, I can help you. I would look for whatever resources I can possibly find. I can say that a while ago I would not know, but thankfully, I know where I can go. Love Shouldn't Hurt would be like the first place that I would go to. And you know what? I actually can't say that. Yeah, I can't say that I have referred two or three people before to Love Shouldn't Hurt because it's, it's perfect. So I can't really like explain it in any other way. Um, Refer them directly and as soon as possible to anywhere, any place that would offer them the help that they need immediately.
So I want to give you this scenario because I don't want it to seem as though we're trying to advocate for me because that's not where I'm going.
Definitely.
What I want to okay, so I want to give you this scenario. So a loved one comes to you.
Yeah.
And when I say loved one, I mean a sister, a relative, a cousin, someone one of your best friends comes to you.
Mhm.
You're a male. You're not
Mhm.
a female. You are definitely not in that mindset. I know you. You're a gentleman. That's not the type of young man that you've grown up to be. These people come up to you and they tell you that they're in that form of a relationship. The person has just hit them last night. They don't know what to do. Not talking about coming to me, not referring them to me. What
Yeah.
kind of guidance would you give them, or what kind of discussion would that sound like? Because a lot of times people say, oh, of course you can help them. You're a woman. Women have dealt with this. You've lived through it. You've processed it. Of course you can help, but I'm a man. I don't know what I would say.
Right.
What would you, as a male, say to
Hmm.
this loved one? You're not dealing with a client. You're not
Right.
dealing with someone that just asked your opinion. You're dealing with a family member, someone that you love. What would that conversation sound like?
For me, I would. I'm always. I'm always ready to help someone think. I don't really like to ever go, well, you should do this. You have to do that. You should do this. No, because it's coming from myself. And at the end of the conversation, I want it to come from them. And I want it to be manifested in their mind, because the only way that they're going to get out of it is according to them.
Right.
It doesn't matter how much I tell them, it's all according to them. And so I would do my best to rephrase the entire scenario in a way where it's all in questions, because I was taught that always ask yourself questions. Um, it is the right question that you need, not necessarily the answer. And I would ask them, do you feel as though that this is healthy for you? Is this contributing to your life?
Yeah.
Is this contributing to the goal that you have set for yourself? If you have children, is this benefiting them? What kind of future are you setting for them? What kind of future are you setting for yourself? You matter. It's not wrong for you to care for yourself. You need to care for you. You need to take care of you. Um, one of your main duties is to wake up every day becoming the best you possible.
Yeah.
And living through, or not living through, but tolerating someone else hurting you, is that contributing to you becoming the best you, or is that allowing yourself to deteriorate slowly, physically, mentally, whatever the abuse may be? Like, if it's physical, then okay, physical. But regardless if it's a physical abuse or not, mental, it's just the mental state of the person is downhill all the way through, and it's only speeding up. And really helping the person see, because again, I can't speak like I've experienced it. I can't say because I don't know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that individuals who experience domestic abuse, have those periods, those gaps of time where they constantly second question it, like, oh, I'll give it time, or they'll change, or it'll stop, or this won't last forever. Um, it's helping them think about those unconscious, unwise choices or decisions. It's helping them really look at the situation. Because again, we all have needs. And I understand that sometimes there's families that are experiencing this, and whether it's a mother or a father that's being abused by the other, and they go, I don't want to break up my family. We can work through this. It'll stop. It'll go away. And they just get into a cycle of denial. And so really helping them notice those unconscious choices that they're making is my biggest goal, because again, I want it to come from them. I don't want it to come from me. I don't want it to just be a 5 to 10 minute talk of you should do this. I want it to be that they realize it and then they act upon it.
So here's a follow-up question to that, and there's no wrong answer.
Mm-hmm.
So part of your discussion with that person is trying to figure out the right question for them to ask themselves and what decision they should make. What happens when their decision is not based on, maybe I want to work it out, maybe I just want to stay because I want to stay for the kids? What if their only reason to stay is because he puts a gun to her head every day and won't let her leave? So she has no other choice, because she feels like if she leaves, he will hurt her. What would that conversation be like? And nothing is a wrong answer, not putting you on the spot, but just trying to see from a male's point of view, what kind of conversation would happen between yourself and either a woman or man, whoever comes to you and says, listen, I know that I have to go. I know that this is unhealthy. It is deteriorating me from limb to limb. I mean, physically, mentally, everything, emotionally. But I can't go because he said it'll kill me. What would that conversation sound like?
That's a strong one. Knowing myself, though, I have a car. Where are they? Are they home? They're not home. We can go get your stuff now, and we'll leave. They don't gotta know where you are. They have your phone tapped. You're getting a new phone. They know where so and so lives at. All right, we'll notify everyone that they know what's going on. You're not seeing this person ever again. It's it's a tricky question, but then again, it's not. Because at the end of the day, as people, it doesn't take much for you to love someone. I honestly truly feel like love is an action, not only a feeling. And so when faced with a situation like that, there's only one thing to do, and it's get out. Just get out. Do everything you possibly can to make sure that you have everything you need. If there's children involved, that the children have everything they need, and you get out. You just get out. Report it immediately. This is lethal intent. You know what I'm saying? This is deadly, life-threatening, um, a deadly, life-threatening situation that we're talking about. And so the moment that someone's life is on the line, that's where it just goes to a whole new level of, you know what? I understand it's been taking time to get away. You've been trying to figure out, but this is the right, this is the only course of action that needs to be taken, because again, your life matters. And again, if children are involved, their lives matter too.
Absolutely. That's a great answer. And I think you saw by our audience response there that they agree with you on several things that you said. What are your thoughts on men being abused? Because there's so many instances where I sit in a room full of men and they ask me what I do, and I let them know, and they say, I don't get it. I don't understand because I mean, I guess women just go through it. And I'm like, no, men go through it too. And they look at me like I'm crazy and they're like, no, that doesn't happen. But what I've learned from doing what I do is that there are far more men out there who are being abused than women. So as a male, what do you think? Like, what is your opinion if one of your male friends came to you and was like, listen, my girl, like when I go home, like she throws bottles at me. She tried to stab me while I was sleeping. What are your opinions on that?
In the same way that we campaign so much about speaking up, men, you gotta speak up. It's okay to not be okay. You're human. You're not a warrior. You're not a barbarian that conquers lands. You're a man. You're a human being. You have feelings. You have emotions. And it's just like a woman. And sadly, we can say that statistically, more women do tend to open up more when it comes to domestic violence than men do, only because of the stigma attached to a man who is domestically abused.
Right.
Society, again, viewers, this is for you guys because, again, y'all are all part of our society. And as a society, we create these constructs that man has to be macho, okay? Oh, and he has to hold it up, and he can't be all sad, and he can't be no wimp.
Yeah.
It's a mindset that's just so self-defeating for a man,
Yeah.
because there's no one, not one human being that is exempt from experiencing the hardships of life. And sometimes those hardships are manifested in domestic abuse.
Mhm.
And so I feel as though that our society needs to help not only women, but also men understand that it's okay to not be okay.
Mhm.
If you really feel like you need help, get help. There's people that are literally placed in positions solely to provide you with help if you need it. So it's really important to, as a people, let it be known it's okay to not be okay.
Absolutely. Wow. Woo! So you gave an amazing performance at one of our showings for our documentary. So amazing that
Thank
after
you.
that performance was over, about 80% of our audience was in tears. And I anybody that was there knows that this is not a lie. Your performance was so touching and so vivid. And I wish I had a clip of that right now. I don't know why I didn't think about this. I'm thinking about it now. But the performance was so touching. Tell me what you felt walking into that auditorium with all of these women and men, but most of those people being victims and watching you. Like, how much did it touch you that night? I want to hear what your opinion was of what it touched you, because I know how much it touched the audience and I know how deep it was for everyone who was there and how they cried after because they felt it when you guys performed. But what did you feel putting on that dance performance at one of our viewings that day?
Ah, man. Knowing the story behind the the dance itself, and the dance itself, um, just really focusing on the topic at hand, being domestic violence. I'm a very empathic individual. I believe that when we put ourselves in others' shoes, it really makes a huge difference in not only who who we are, but in the world. And when making that dance, I really did my best to really put myself in others' shoes, and being able to like hear stories and understanding how people felt. Um, it was I can't really like put it much into words because that's why I dance, because movement helps me talk better than words do. And but I can say that what I felt what I felt was, I can't say like I felt like I did justice, but I felt like I was doing the right thing, which is just speaking up in the best way that I knew how, and that for me is dancing. Um, can't really just stand anywhere and give a speech to nobody. That's, I don't know. I can't. I'm a dancer, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
But for me. I honestly wanted to make sure that those who were watching, like you said, people who, people who are victims, people who lived this really dark period in their lives. I wanted them to be able to see, you know, dag, like that was dark for me.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to be a moment of victory for them, where they're able to sit there and watch it, but then realize where they are. It's almost like in the middle of your journey, you take a glance back at everything you did, but then you look forward to where you're going and where you're at. Really wanted it to like, reach them in that way, if that makes sense, if I answered your
No,
question,
it does.
right?
No, it did. So there's a question that was posed there, and since you are now working in the mental health field, I want to see if you can answer it. So
All
our
right.
executive producer absolutely just put up a great question. It says, if a child is too young to understand what's happening, can there be a negative effect on them?
Yes. Um, they don't understand what's going on in that moment, but they will when they get older. Awareness. Uh, I can I can't imagine countless people that might have, over the years, something might have happened when they were a child, and they had absolutely no clue what was going on, because maybe someone they trusted was probably, within the act, and they had absolutely no idea what was going on was harming them.
Mhm.
Um, but they will grow up, they will learn, they will become aware, and I honestly can say that for anyone who experiences that, I can understand that it's a really difficult thing. You're in the middle of your life, and de la nada you realize that you were abused at a young age, and it truly does. Now, how, it's a phenomenon for me, but I honestly do not fully understand yet how it affects someone. But I do know that part of it affects them within like their development. In a way, it really affects how they interact, how they think, how they see the world. You're altering a human being, and it pains me. I low key want to cry, but it pains me
Yeah,
a lot.
it does. I think it's a part of every day. And even if you're not dealing with direct domestic violence, or even if you're just in an unhealthy relationship, kids are super aware. My daughter is 14 years old, and she's 14 now. But even when she was younger, and she was 9 and she was 10, and I was in unhealthy relationships, exactly what Christine Santos said, She knew that there was something off about mommy. She knew what days I was sad. And if I locked myself in my room, she knew something is wrong with her. Something is happening. Why is she different? And she would say, like, she would come to me as young as 7 years old. Mommy, are you okay? Mommy, why are you crying? Mommy, I don't want you sad. And even if I would say, no, I'm okay, mama, I'm good, she would say, no, mommy, something's wrong. So it's definitely something that they experience. We're at the 30 mark. And I want to remind folks, as I always do at this point of the show, if you are dealing with any form of domestic violence, if someone you know is dealing with domestic violence, reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. It is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. You can also reach us at loveshouldnothurt.com and all of our social media platforms. I got a question for you, Bryan.
I got an answer for you, Ale.
I hope so. What if the person who is abusing someone is one of your friends?
I gotta sit up on my seat.
Yeah. Espérate, espérate, espérate.
Oh goodness gracious. Okay, look, the man within me, the Hispanic man in myself who loves people but so much. If I just by so find a friend of mine doing this, we're gonna have a very extensive talk. I'm not trying to be too colorful, but
Colorful is what we
be a
are.
big problem. But uh, wanting to guide and love people, I would do my very, very best. Like I said earlier, make the individual think about the situation, not only the victim to think about if this is contributing to their life, but also to, like you had just asked me, to the abuser. I mean, what are you doing? What are you getting from this? What fulfillment within your life are you getting from doing this? Are you contributing to anything? What what good is this doing for you? Does this help you feel any stronger? What is it that you lack that you need to do this? What is wrong? Um, it's okay to not be okay. I have a very strong belief in hurt people hurt people.
Yes, absolutely.
And so there's these times where individuals find themselves just repeating things that they've experienced in their life, whether things that they saw or things that they lived. And I'm not a therapist. I'm not nothing within those like levels. But I just truly feel as though that if we were to like think, you know, practice awareness, be mindful of what you do and how you think, because you have situations like that where you know people are just hurting one another, and that's all I would want to do is just really help them or her think about what they're doing, and is there anything in your life that that you feel as though influenced you to get to this point where you are hurting someone else. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest thing for one to see. Not only did I live through those 6 years of it, but even after I left it, I was a witness to people that I knew who were truly violent, just really violent in their relationships. And I was always seen as, oh, you're a victim. You're gonna always be a victim. So that's just the way that you see it. You're gonna always feel like what I'm doing is wrong. Just let me be. This is my relationship. And it was always something that was super hard for me because, yeah, I was a victim. I don't call myself a victim anymore. I don't associate myself as a victim anymore. And on the contrary, this platform is not to hurt or to devalue the person who abused me in any way, shape, or form, because I've said it plenty of times that I forgave him a long time ago. We are cordial. We can speak to one another without it being toxic. We are friendly. This platform was never meant to make that person look terrible. It's not that I'm living in the past or that my total goal is to make you look like the bad guy. Not at all. But people have to understand that wrong is wrong and right is right. And even if you're my friend, I don't feel like I should be able to say, okay, that's their business. That's none of my business.
Yeah.
I feel like we should also, that's part of the power that we have with our voice. Being able to say, listen, homie, Like, we're friends, dude. We get along well, but what you're doing is wrong.
Right.
You know, like, just because you have something inside yourself that you're not sure about doesn't mean that you can hurt someone else. Deal with your pain. Deal with whatever it is that you're struggling with, because obviously it's turning you into someone that you probably don't want to be to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
Bryan, what do you perceive as a healthy relationship?
Oh man, so many,
Echa que las mujeres te están
so many,
viendo,
so
están
many
escuchando.
pieces, so many parts to what a relationship is. Because you use the word relationship, I'm just going to give an overall view. No,
I'm sorry. Would you like me to use
no,
a different word?
no, I can say that value is very important. Um, love is the key to it all. But I really feel as though that understanding what that means for many, because you can say I love you, or you can say the word love, I can say love, but they can be two completely different definitions.
Absolutely.
And I am a very, very big believer in what Scripture says. Excuse me for the pause. But Bible does teach us that love does not take records of wrong. It doesn't dishonor people. It is patient. It is kind. Um, it doesn't rejoice with falsehood. It doesn't try to take away from the other person. Um, I love how it mentions that it bears all things, it believes all things, it endures all things. And so, when in a relationship with someone, I really feel as though that um, you should love them, but not with how you feel, but love them action wise. Think of love not only as a feeling, think of it as an action. And and I understand, like you mentioned, people have these dark times in their lives where they feel as though that it gives them or not gives them, but it just causes them or influences them to then make these unwise choices that cause them to then hurt other people. But when in a relationship, it's just all about the other. You find joy, you find fulfillment in knowing that that individual in with whom you are with knows that you love them. That's where the fulfillment is at. That's where the purpose is at. It's not about me. It's not selfish. Love's not selfish. Um, those of you who are in a relationship and it's a constant, what can I get out of it? You're gonna have to rethink, what your definition of love is or why you're even with this individual. If you're with somebody, you value them, you cherish them, you demonstrate to them that, and understand we're all imperfect. No one's perfect. No one's gonna always do everything right. But that's the
Absolutely.
beauty of love.
Mhm.
Okay, you're with someone and they fall short. They make a mistake. You love them. I'm not saying you overlook it and you forget about that issue, but you love them. Not only saying it, not only feeling it, but you do so. Um, and you work with it. Again, love endures all things. It'll last in eternity. It is everlasting, is never ending. But a question I can't say. It all depends on the individual and if they're willing to really love.
You're so cute, qué lindo.
Deja, stop.
So I have a quote here. I want you to tell me your thoughts on the quote once I read it. It says, I lied and said I was busy. I was busy, but not in a way most people understand. I was busy taking deeper breaths. I was busy silencing irrational thoughts. I was busy calming a racing heart. I was busy telling myself I am okay. Sometimes this is my busy, and I will not apologize for it.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on that? This
Man,
is a quote.
that hits so hard, man.
This was a quote from a woman who survived 15 years of domestic violence. And when people asked her to go out places or do things, she would always say, I'm busy. But that was her form of busy. What are your takes on that quote?
And I will never say that ever the same again. Wow, I'm busy. Look, when an individual doesn't speak up, it is just literally that. I'm busy. It's just you're falling through a pit of just everything that she just said. Fighting irrational thoughts. Oh my goodness. Can you read it one more time, please?
I
Please.
sure will. I sure will. I think it's something that is super powerful. I lied and said I was busy. I was busy, but not in a way most people understand. I was busy taking deeper breaths. I was busy silencing irrational thoughts. I was busy calming a racing heart. I was busy telling myself I am okay. Sometimes this is my busy, and I will not apologize for it.
See, people who are living in this darkness and aren't speaking up, it's a consistent like just up and down of those unhelpful emotions that you feel, whether it's nervousness, anxiety, stress, depression, sadness. You know, these are things that are like these are literal emotions that we feel that release unhelpful chemicals in our body. And to think, like I'm busy. I'm busy trying to silence these thoughts. I'm busy. You never know, but I'm just thinking, what if, right? But I'm busy trying to silence these suicidal thoughts that I'm having. I'm busy trying to think whether I should run away or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm busy. I'm busy trying to fight to push myself to eat something.
Yeah.
I'm busy trying to force myself not to cry while I'm on my way home. Think about these things. Oh man, I appreciate this because it gives you an insight to the individual who's experiencing it, and what we spoke about earlier, where it takes a society to raise awareness. It's poems like this that help give us insight, give us an understanding. If you don't know what it feels like, we'll learn to seek what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you can play a part in advocating for these people that need a voice.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Listen, thank you for just being you. I got to say that before we continue on, because anyone that comes into your presence knows how absolutely amazing you are. I have a surprise for you, sir.
Really?
It seems that video has surfaced from this amazing performance.
Oh, word.
For people who are watching and do not know what we're speaking of, when we began Love Shouldn't Hurt, we did so in honor of a friend who was killed by her husband. And I will always honor Linda Rios because she is the reason behind Love Shouldn't Hurt. I do not see her as a victim, but I will always remember her as the positive, beautiful light that she is. We put together an hour documentary depicting the life of 3 survivors who have not succumbed to their abuse, but have gotten past it and are living great lives now. So during that time, we decided, let's put on a few showings, and we did so. And Bryan and Janira, 2 amazing dancers from Muévete Dance Company, put on an amazing show for us at one of our documentaries. So let's see that video now.
Muévete Dance Company.
So I guess I got
That was awesome. I remember when you guys performed it. There's the picture of you guys going down there. I loved it. That was so amazing. And all of the people at our showing at the end, it was awesome. You guys were phenomenal. I love when you guys perform together because I have to cough. That's what happens when you're live. Sorry, people. Every time you two perform together, there's just like an awestruck feeling. Like you guys, like you can feel the energy between the two of you. But that day, because of the setting that we were in, there was so much passion in it. And you know, people are just seeing the video, but they don't realize like what it looked like in person. You know, when you pull their head back, like you had to be there to feel the chills that rose in all of our bodies the day that you guys performed that. It was so awesome. It was amazing. And we look forward to seeing more of this because, you know, Love Shouldn't Hurt have so much going on. Now that some of the COVID restrictions are lifting, we're looking forward to another Love Gala this year that we're super excited for. We're putting on our second documentary. We are in the works of it now, being filmed shortly. So we're super excited and we hope that you will be there again to give us an amazing performance. So if you've never seen our show, Bryan, but I'm sure you have, yes. What we do before we end the show is always have our closing thoughts. So today has been awesome. And you, as always have a good repertoire with me. And it's always fun to hear your perspective because of how enlightening you are as the gentleman that you also are.
I'm trying.
I'm going to go to the back and I want you to just give us your final thoughts, not only on what happened today, but just in general, what you feel about domestic violence and just as a man and just your overall appearance on today. So I'm going to go to the back and I'll be back.
All right. Excuse me for being of short words if I am, but most likely I'll be really long. But overall, as you all can see from the performance, I can say that when doing so, I do my best to embody the frustration and the pain. Because again, like you all saw throughout the show, there's a lot of people that just feel like, you know, oh, it's an extended conversation that needs to end already. But this is something serious. This is something that has taken lives. You know, it surprises me to even like see people feel that way towards something that, again, it's people are being hurt. People have lost their lives, and again, if we raise awareness like we're supposed to, if we learn to really value one another, it'll make a difference, especially those in relationships. I honestly feel like it's really important for you guys to always remember, you know, value one another. That is what love is. It doesn't take records of wrongs. It doesn't dishonor the other individual. It's patient. It's kind. It lasts. It endures. It pushes, and it fights through all things. Learning to accept ourselves and understand that it's inevitable to avoid negative things in life. It's really important to do so, to understand that you can't do that because, again, life is life. But you are who you are today because of what you've experienced, and you're only getting better and you are only becoming greater every single day. And no one and nothing can take that away from you. You were created wonderfully and fearfully, and you are wonderful. You're great. You're unique. There's no one like you in the world. And so I really feel as though that we need to also learn to value ourselves. Self-value, self-love is just as important as loving someone else. Because how are you going to do that? How are you going to love someone if you're not doing that to the one who matters, and that's you? And so I really, you know, being who I am, I'd love to challenge everyone before we end and say, you know, be sure that before you love someone, love you. Make sure that you take care of you. Make sure that you do all it is you need to do for you as well. So that when the time comes, or even when if you're already in a relationship, if you got your own boo, if you got your own mommy, whatever, lo que sea, whatever, you're ready to do it the right way. Because again, love is selfless. Okay, selfless. It's less of you, more of them. But it's the same way with them. It's less of them, more of you. And as you guys are doing so together, it only has one direction, and the direction is good. But if we have people hurting one another, dishonoring one another, disrespecting one another, doing things to get back at the other person, you're not really going nowhere. You're not contributing to the whole purpose on why you even chose to be with that person. And so let us all go today. Let's finish here, and let's make the difference. Let's raise awareness. Let's love one another more. Let's make sure that we're acting more upon love more than what we're feeling. So it's great to feel love. It's also just as important to act upon it too. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Have a great one.
¡Qué lindo, Dio! You're so cute, qué lindo.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. You're welcome. I'm absolutely blessed always when I'm in your presence. So thank you for being the gentleman that you are, because there are not many men out there who are growing up to be the man that you are. And I know that it sounds crazy that I keep saying growing up, but I'm 40 and you're like, you were my student and you're in your 20s. So I feel like you're still a baby to me. Like when I see people and I saw them as babies and then I see them as teenagers and I'm like, aren't you still 3? So that's how I'm always going to see you, even though I'm no longer Miss Vega for you. It still feels like you're that kid that was sitting in my office. So to me, I'm super, super humbled that I was able to watch you through that journey in high school and then see you get through college and now see that you're this amazing man and that you continue to, nothing has ever, he said nuestra vieja, I hate him, that you continue to just be a phenomenal person and that you've never changed, and you always hold the same respect for people in general, not just women but just women, men. You're just so respectful and deserving, and I know that one day you're going to be in a phenomenal relationship because you're just great. So we're going to send you to the back. I'm going to give my final thoughts real quick and my shout outs to what's coming up next, and then we'll be back to say goodbye together. Good evening, all. Thank you all for being here. It's been another amazing evening. I told you guys in all of my posts how awesome Bryan was, and I'm sure that if you stayed with us the entire hour, you will agree that he is an absolute gentleman. He is just amazing in every way, shape, or form. And like I said, I've seen him since he was in high school and he sat in my office. So I'm super just touched and pleased because this gentleman was a great kid in high school, super respectful, super humble, super loving. And then he grew up and he was my daughter's dance teacher. And I got to see him all the time and see the kind of role that he played for her and how much he loved her. And I saw how awesome he was. And now he's graduated from college and he has his own car and he has his own job. And I'm like, wow, you're like a real adult. So it's super exciting to see him and the growth that he has maintained. Alicia says, mira, nuestra vieja looks good. That's right. I do look good for my age. But I am super excited that he was here. Listen up, folks. If you see my rainbow, you still see that we are celebrating the month of Pride. Next week, we will have an awesome man joining us, Luis Ortiz Fonseca, who will join us to close out Pride Month on Love Shouldn't Hurt. It should be phenomenal. The week after, we will be shooting Love Shouldn't Hurt in Disney World. I will be on vacation and I will be joined with Amanda. Yes, I will be joined with Amanda Peguero, our licensed professional counselor, and we will be doing part 2 of Abusive Friendships because we had such a phenomenal show and Facebook booted us. So we're going to give us a part 2 because it was so great. But from Disney World, wepa! I'll make sure to have my Mickey ears on. And I'll make sure that you see the palm trees so that if it's, not so hot next week, you could be a little jealous of me. Looking forward to all that's to come with Love Shouldn't Hurt. We are starting to plan again our Love Gala 2021, which was such an amazing event last year. Our 5K, which was phenomenal. And again, our second documentary, so that we can continue to have the voices of women and men who have lived in darkness come out to the world and share that with you. Tonight was awesome to get a male's perspective. We often hear from women, and it sounds like we're being bashers and we're being bitter. So we wanted to make sure that we reminded folks that men out there have an opinion as well on domestic violence. Thank you all for always being such an awesome audience, for sharing your time with us, for constantly putting up comments and interacting with us. You have been an amazing audience. Let's bring Bryan back so we can say goodnight together. Mi amor,
Bueno,
the time has come.
sadly,
Time flies when you're having fun.
I know, right? My goodness.
Thank you, mi amor, for being so amazing as always, reminding folks that you can reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 and our website at loveshouldnothurt.com or all of our social media platforms. Bryan, I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed the evening.
Thank you
Margie just she's shouting you out, her flaco. She loves you. So I hope you see the love in the comments.
Real, man. Whew. The love is real.
The love is real when you are an amazing human being. That's what it is, sir. Thank you so much for being here, Bryan. Together we say goodbye, folks. We'll see you next week. Have a good evening.
Everybody.